Edwards on the drive, goes inside the floor. Turn him over again. Booker scoops it up. Booker brings the boom.
What is up, everyone? We got fake news in the chat. Fake news in the chat. Where is it? Trevor Bryant. Big T doesn't do shows anymore. He hates us. That's not true. That's Big T's music. He's here on the show with you guys.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, perfect timing for Trevor Bryant to be talking some shit and getting called out. But hey, that's what we do here at Run Pure Sports. We got a nice show ahead of you. We got the Denver Nuggets on the slate, so Tony can slurp Jokic. That'll be a good time, of course, and a pretty fun slate. I'll say this. It's a slate with some really, really bad value, in my opinion. So I'm excited to check that out. I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to fade those values and do our best. So, Sean, yeah, you were hoping I would start the show with the goggles. That would have been funny, actually.
That would have been actually very good to come back with the goggles.
Yeah, that would have been a good idea. I did not think about that. Actually, Sean, fun story. So I texted Big T. I was at the gym. I'm lifting weights, and I figured.
Is it texted or is it just text Big T?
No, is it texted? I guess because
I don't know. It's a legitimate question. It was a conversation like starter. Texted seems like it's too much, but it could be. I don't know if it's text or texted.
Well, it's past tense, right? Because then it'd be I sent a text, right? It's texted.
That could be it too. It could be a third option. I sent a text. I don't know.
Yeah.
But finish your story.
Yeah. So I sent the text over to Big T when I was at the gym, and I said, Big T, it's almost time to get in the pool. I knew you were at lunch. I figured you'd be laughing about it. Did you laugh with Uncle T about it?
I wasn't with Uncle T, but I laughed.
Okay. Wait. What was for lunch? Before I keep going, what was for lunch today?
I've had some teeth issues, so I had to have soup. I've been eating a lot of soup lately.
Oh, okay. So nothing crazy. So I was hoping you were with Uncle T. I was hoping to get a good laugh for you guys. I walk over downstairs, I get changed. I lace them up basically, walk over to the pool, and it's closed. I sent Big T the picture. So were you?
They might have heard the story about the laps and the goggles and the Speedo. They might have not wanted any smoke of that Speedo.
Yeah, they did not want me getting in the pool, and I do not wear a Speedo for the people that think I do. Big T is spreading fake news. I did hit the hot tub and the sauna, so I hit both of those at least. So that was a good
That's
time.
my move. Go into the gym and hit those two and then leave.
Yeah, those were the two I hit after lifting, and then I just got on out of there. So, oh yeah, Brittany said all the candy cigarettes catching up to you.
It could be. It's catching up for sure. All the bottom backs are having some issues.
Yeah, Shauna, it was sad. I did not get to get in there, but we'll have to see. Hopefully tomorrow it will be open. But yeah, we got a fun show for you though, and we got Big T in the chat. They're saying texted and text is the way to say it.
That's what I said. Sometimes I'm like doing it to make fun, but this time it was more of a which one is it?
Yeah, no,
I think they both could be correct. I kind of am on board with that.
It's
like where it's Xavier or Xavier. Like it's Xavier, but some people say Xavier.
It's definitely Xavier. It's not X.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a given that it's Xavier, but a lot of people say Xavier.
Who says X Xavier?
A lot of people say Xavier, like EX Xavier.
That's got to be an Uncle T move or something. That's got to be.
I don't think it is an Uncle T. Around here, I mean, because Xavier's the school. I mean, I don't know if it happens as much around here, but a lot of people say Xavier.
Yeah, I don't totally get that one, but yeah, we got. By the way, I should ask you about this. Since March Madness around the corner, did you see the shot last night from Michigan State?
I did. I'm in a little bit of college mode a little bit since the All-Star break. This is when I start watching a little bit more college for the next month. I like college the next month. Stevie Boynton and me are locking arms.
To be honest, I've been considering watching a little more. Like actually,
this time of year though.
When DC came over to the house, actually, the apartment, I had to put some sports on, right? And I debated what to put on. I saw UNC was whooping Virginia's ass 17-2, so I debated throwing that on just to own Boynton, but I didn't want to have that up for too long. Yep. But
like that.
Yes, figured I'd throw it on.
And
We got
Izzo's
NBA.
reaction. Izzo's reaction was good. Sam Bobbendreyer.
What?
Sam Bobbendreyer liked Izzo's reaction. Yes.
No, it was a good reaction.
Izzo's seen it all, so he just stands there.
Yeah, Dante said I took a shower last night and said to my wife, "That's number 2" out loud. She said she had no idea what I was talking about. No, so that was
She
shower.
probably loved it too. There's no way your wife wants a stanky dude in the bed that night. Like, it's just a given. Got to shower before.
That's a fair point. I don't know why everyone says I look like I haven't taken a shower. I don't know.
It's because that freaking hair hasn't been cut in 18 months.
The hair's
Even
whatever.
if it's clean, it's not going to look clean.
I mean, yeah, that's why I always wear a hat, right? The hat makes it look fine. So I will say
that's how you get an active bench. You get a shower. They like that. They like a nice clean area, and then you get the job done.
Yeah, I will say I am. The haircut's happening soonish. Not yet.
Yeah.
I still haven't booked the appointment yet, but I'm getting there. I'm not there yet.
Does it cost more when you got to go in and get it all cut off, or is it still the same rate?
I think it's still a similar rate, but I don't go to a barber. I do what Holden used to do.
Uncle T's watching you.
I put the show on.
Pulls it up, and you were coming after him.
Yeah, Uncle T, you gotta watch out. I gotta get on Uncle T's side. I gotta get. It's around March. I gotta get on his side. So Uncle T, my apologies. I'll take the L for that one. But you don't have to pay extra, Tony. You don't have to pay extra for the haircut. But I like to go to a lady over a guy for a haircut. If I'm being honest, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, I trust him more, especially. I'll say this: if I was getting it like shaved and stuff like you are,
you trust the lady more with a dude's hair?
If it's gonna be like cut, yeah, like if they're cut, like if they're using scissors and stuff, right? I think that if you're gonna just use a razor, right, like and just touch it up, I'd go to a guy then. I think that's how you do it. It's a little weird, but I think that's the correct way. Barber, if you're still short, but if you have some hair and you need it, I shouldn't say styled, right? But you actually need like some attention to detail. Because this is long hair. You definitely, if I'm not shaving it, you need some attention to detail. I think a woman's the way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have that much hair, so you're not falling in the same range as I am with that.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of people with long hair go to a freaking barber.
I don't know. I think it's the wrong way. And Uncle T agrees. So I'm back on Uncle T's side, which is where exactly I want. Derek is right. Derek is right about this, Tony. As someone that gets massages.
Yeah, I don't want the dude's nails on my head. I like what they do with it. I don't want them touching my head, like giving me a massage or anything.
Well, the woman she goes in there with the nails and washes the hair. It's nice. It's a good way to go.
like that part for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to go. So that's my take on it. I don't know if it's right. I don't know if it's wrong. Kevin, yeah, Uncle T is always right. I got to get back in Uncle T's good graces. So
Caleb's at least on my side. I mean, once you go to the barber, you can't go back to just getting a normal cut.
I mean, I've definitely been to barbers. It's not like I've never been. I don't know. The barber in town I wasn't the biggest fan of. So maybe it's just maybe it was the one-time barber, right? Could
be. You got to find a better barber.
Could have been the case. But
I mean, I like getting the massage. Like, I'd get a normal cut from a barber and then go to the other one and let the lady rub my head a little bit.
That would be the best of both worlds. I'll say that. But that's why you hit the. I don't think people know this. Big T is a big. You go for the pedicures, right?
Oh yeah. I just went a couple days ago for the pedi. You got to get them in there working on those toes.
Yeah, I would say the most surprising thing about our guy Big T is he's a huge pedicure guy.
That's the biggest. Yeah, I mean, I love it. Imagine cutting your own toenails. I mean, imagine digging in there and cutting your own friggin' nails. That's gross.
It's fair, but I definitely do it. I've only gotten one pedicure ever, so only one time. So.
I would never cut my own nails. I cut my own fingernails, but not my toes. I'm not touching those things.
Yeah. I will say chat's looking like they're getting on your side right now. We got Roddy says he gets mani-pedis. Nice Kevin says pedicures are life-changing. So, I think.
Nice Kevin said, man, Goat's always right. Nice says Big T's always right.
What'd you say?
Hey, we were both right at some point.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's Spaniards. He's very shocked. You don't cut your own toenails.
I I bathe at least 2 times a day, and I get someone to cut my toenails. Those are my rules. And I take off my shirt when I poop. Those are my rules to live by. I stand by them. I stand by all of them.
Those are the rules, no other rules.
I mean, there's probably some other rules, but those are like the starting point. Those are like my crucial ones to live by.
Another big one is you don't poop on the main floor, right? You poop at
You
someone
can't.
else's
No,
house.
I mean, if no one's home, you can poop on the main floor. But like when you got people over, you can't poop on the main floor.
Yeah, no, I was somewhere not too long ago where someone did poop on the main floor, and
Was it you again?
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I've learned my lesson.
Pee in the shower? Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with peeing in the shower. You can pee in there. You got to aim towards the drain, though. As long as you aim towards the drain, you can pee in the shower.
Yeah, people do have strong takes on that. I'm with you. You aim for the drain, right? That's definitely the way to do it. I agree. So, Beanair just spewing nonsense. When Beanair,
you're just being gross, Beanair.
Yeah,
you're ruining a good conversation here.
Yeah. Ruin
I love too when like the people get all mad about like peeing in a big pool. Like you can't pee in the pool. Like everyone pees in the pool. Get out of here. No one doesn't not pee in a huge pool. What are you gonna get out and walk to the bathroom when you're already in the freaking pool?
Actually, this is a good one. Do you brush your teeth in the shower, Big T?
Brush my teeth in the shower? I've never even heard of such a thing.
I actually do that. I brush my teeth.
Oh my God. You brush your teeth in the shower?
Yeah, but you can't leave the toothbrush in the shower. You got to make sure you take it.
Why? What's the point?
It just kills two birds with one stone a little bit, you know?
I mean, I don't need to save that much time. What do I mean, I can't just brush them in the sink?
I don't know. I just did it once and haven't gone back. I don't know. I mean, it's not the only thing I do, but I'd say I'm a fan of it. You can't leave the toothbrush though. You can't. If you leave the toothbrush, that's disgusting.
Like, how do you get toothpaste on it? Isn't it wet?
You put the toothpaste on before you get in there. So it's just a way, like, I don't know.
This like hot water. You don't like cold water on your toothbrush?
You put the cold water on first. You know, you
just
get
to
in
brush
there.
your teeth. Why not just brush them and get in the shower?
I don't know. That's how I start the shower.
The chat's really against you on this one. This is a crazy take.
Some people are with me. Some said it.
No one brushes their teeth in the shower.
I wonder if JSU does. JSU seems like
no way JSU brushes his teeth in the shower.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, this is terrible. This is something.
Again, I'm not the only one. Someone in chat brought it up. I did not bring it up. So
they didn't say they did it though. They were just asking. I think to like stir the pot.
No, if you're asking it, you do it. There's no way. No, if you're asking it, you definitely do it, Tony.
Wow. See here, Spencer says that he stayed at a house that they have it in the shower. They keep it in there.
See, I wouldn't keep it in there. I don't think that's the correct way to do it.
I brushed my wife's teeth in the shower. Woo! Yeah, there we go.
Oh. Look at Bobby H on my side. Travis has never been more right.
Bobby.
We got people coming to my defense. Oh man, toothbrush is taller than JSU is actually a good one. That's a really good one. Right?
I mean, a mini TV in the show. Why is it good, Bobby? Explain it. Why? Why is it the stones? Why is brushing my teeth in the shower the stones?
I'm not going to say it's the stones. I'm not going to go that far.
I mean, why though? What am I gaining? What advantage am I gaining? Like when you poop with your shirt off, like you got no chance of getting any residue on the shirt. It helps you. You got more mobility. Like what's my advantage to brushing in the shower?
Well, you do. If we want to like really break it down, you do gain a couple minutes, right? If that matters. I'm not saying
you're brushing either way though. Like you still can't like just because the water's hitting your body while you're brushing.
It's just something to do while you're standing in the shower, right?
Does the spit dribble down your chest?
I will say one thing too. You do worry about if you do brush your teeth and put your shirt on, right? Then if you do it in the shower, there's no chance of messing up the shirt that you're wearing, right? Even with just like a small amount of backsplash or anything.
Yeah, I mean, you got to change shirts after you get toothpaste on it. I agree with that. That's it. I mean, this is a small percentage, but it could happen. You can't wear a toothpaste shirt.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I definitely make sure if I'm wearing like a shirt and I'm going out, like, I have a shirt that I want to wear specifically, like you're going out with a lady or something, you definitely make sure you brush the teeth without the shirt on. That's an important aspect. So you don't want to mess the shirt up. But Oh man, how the hell are you getting poop on your shirt? Oh man.
I'm not saying you do, but you can't if you got your shirt off.
Pepe, have you done it? That's the question. Because me and Big T are arm in arm on this one. I mean, have you?
I can't imagine pooping with a shirt on. Like, why would you not just take your shirt off?
There's certain spots where I do poop with the shirt on. It depends. If I'm out, like if I'm at a restaurant, I'm not. I don't.
I
think
do it even in there. Well, how are you pooping when you're going out at a restaurant, anyways?
What?
You poop when you go out and like eat with people at a restaurant?
I mean, sometimes it happens, Tony. There's nothing you can do. I mean,
If
sometimes
it does, I'm taking the shirt off still. I'm hanging it up on the holster.
Okay. Yeah. See, remember at Chick-fil-A when I was in trouble and there was mistakes with.
No, I don't remember you having to poop at Chick-fil-A. I don't have that good of a memory. You pooped at Chick-fil-A? Oh yeah, you didn't flush. I do remember now.
Yeah, because I couldn't figure it out. It wasn't flushing.
I caught you. You didn't know
It
I was
wasn't.
coming after.
It wasn't flushing. Some of those automatic toilets
It flushed the first time I hit the flush. It went right down.
I'm not as smart
You
as
left
you.
a big old pile of poop right in the Chick-fil-A toilet.
I don't have a computer science degree like you. Sometimes there's mistakes.
You hit the button. It says flush.
Tony, I spent like 2 to 3 minutes trying to get it, and then I looked around and I was like,
There's a lot
I'm
of
in trouble.
disappointed people coming in that bathroom that you just left a big old pile in there.
It was a tough scene. I couldn't figure it out. Listen, I'm not the only guy that has had an automatic toilet and had some issues sometimes where it doesn't go.
Uncle T confirmed. He was there. He said you locked up the toilet.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Yeah, it was fun times. Nothing I could do about it. I tried my best. So no, Jerry, I was trying to leave it, but we ended up getting the job done, so it was okay.
We didn't get it done. I flushed it.
Well, I mean, I'm putting us.
You left the scene and I cleared it up for you. Like
I didn't leave. I was still in the bathroom. This is bullshit. I did not.
You didn't know I was coming in though. I caught you off guard. You were already washing your hands, and I think someone was in the urinal. I had to pee, and I went in there. It was just a big pile of poop.
I mean, again, I couldn't figure it out. Sometimes you can't figure it out. It's just the truth. I know I'm not the only one. I know people won't raise their hand, but I know they've been there. So,
I mean, you got to at least like look out real quick, make sure no one's in there, and then just dart for the sink to where they don't know it was you.
Well, that's what I was doing. I had to watch my hands at least. I was kind of giving it a look, right? And, it just happened. Oh, that's actually a gross one. Who puts the dirty toilet paper in? That's
too much there.
That's a gross one. That's a gross one. Oh man. Do we start the show, Tony? Is that it? Or
I mean, unless people have other questions.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we got too much else. I saw Beanair was complaining. He said, "Is there a show?"
Beanair was being gross though. He started it. I mean he started the nastiness.
Yeah.
We're gonna waste your time, Rob Silva. That's what we're doing. We're wasting your time.
And Rob, we're having a good time. Don't worry. There's a slate. We're gonna talk about it. It's 5 games, guys. I also wrote up the playbook. It's also a free show. If you want to check out the playbook, go listen. There's really bad chalk we're gonna talk about. It's a pile of shit. Actually,
is there any good chalk?
One piece of good chalk I like so far.
Nikola Jokic, or is he not owned again?
I don't think he's owned.
How come he's never owned and he always gets 80?
By chalk, I mean values, I should have said. Like chalk values. I don't really talk about like the expensive chalk. I'm always about, hey, what the chalk values, are they good? Are they bad? People get upset when I talk about guys like Aaron Nesmith here and there. But let's talk about the games. Let's get to Golden State and Orlando. That is the first one up. Actually, Tony, important note on this slate. This one's a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? Typically, the Friday night slates, they're typically like one's at 7, 7:30, and then we got the 8 o'clock window, and then we're out. Tonight's a sprint is a marathon. We got 7 o'clock game, then we have an 8 o'clock, an 8:30, a 9, and a 10:30. So we got some games all night long. We got Golden State Warriors and the Orlando Magic. I actually think this is a pretty fun game from like just watching basketball standpoint, right? The Golden State Warriors, I'm not going to say they're back, but they're definitely better than they've been, right? This team has been fun. They've been blowing teams out. I actually think this Orlando team's going to make it a pretty competitive game. And when it's a competitive game, Tony, and Orlando is going up against a team like the Warriors, that's great for Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero, who are guys I think you'll talk a little bit about. Cole Anthony, He is questionable. If he misses, that would really give a lot of boost to some of these guys, especially the two main usage guys. And then maybe you gravitate some of the minutes to like Anthony Black, I would say. KCP would maybe gain some minutes and just play a tighter rotation. But if Cole Anthony plays too, I think at 5'3", I think he's a low-owned value that could pop off. The other day, I think it was a weekend slate. I think I saw him at like 60% owned on a short slate. At 5,300, I think he has the ability to show a ceiling. So there's definitely plays on the Orlando side. Even Wendell Carter Jr., I know you and I have talked about him. He's clearly taken that role in Orlando and made it his. I don't love the matchup with likely Draymond Green at the 5, but we'll see what the starting lineup ends up being. Jimmy Butler at 7'6", he's a really interesting talking point because I don't think we've really seen his complete ceiling because they've blown so many teams out. I think we've seen the minutes over the past two games, 28 and 19 minutes in blowouts, but the other games, he's played like 35 minutes in spots. And I think Jimmy's a really strong play at 7.6K in tournaments. Of course, you could always put Steph Curry in the conversation, but there's other guards that I prefer that we will talk about. Don't think there's too much else for me to discuss, Tony. I think I mentioned a lot of the main pieces in this game, but what is your thoughts on the first game that starts at 7 o'clock?
Yeah, these are like my favorite slates too. I would love, like, I don't love it when the games go all night, but if they're going to, I love the alternate start time like this where it's 7, 8, 8:30, 9, 10:30, just like that, where it gives you options and you can kind of see how the night goes with each game set. So I love that. The problem with this game, though, is you have some of the best fantasy guys and like atmospheres on this slate, and then you have an Orlando game at home. And honestly, Golden State getting Jimmy is going to be a very good defensive team as well when they want to be. So you got a really tough game environment, and it starts an hour before any other game. You can treat it almost as like an 8 o'clock, but a lot of people are going to do that. A lot of people just are going to say, screw the 7 o'clock game. Let's wait and see what happens for these later games, get more news, better atmosphere. So that'll make these guys low owned. I don't think anyone in this game will be significantly owned at all. The Orlando studs, I mean, we got them Sabres showing them somewhere in the teens or something, but nothing crazy for a short slate. I do like the Orlando side more than the Golden State side, but it's just tough on this slate because, I mean, you have some just premium guys at the top as we get to these next games. And I don't know if I want to play an Orlando game when we can play these spots. So Franz, Paulo, I always like them, honestly, and they've been playing minutes. Let me pull this up real quick. So,
hey, while you pull that up, let me just mention a couple things. Banchero's the highest owned guy in this game right now at SaberSim for our ownership on DraftKings, 17%. We got Wendell Carter Jr. 15%, Franz Wagner 12%. Next highest Golden State guy is either Moses Moody or Draymond Green. So, yeah, definitely a lower owned game, but I think it's worth just kind of calling out that it's not going to just get zero ownership, right? It's a 5.
Yeah. I think just looking at this stuff too, looking a little closer, man, I like Paulo and Franz, but you got tough matchups. I mean, Draymond, Jimmy, Golden State's going to be a tough defensive team. They can run a lot of guys at you that are going to be tough. And I don't know, even Gary Payton's a really, really tough defender. I'm just going to fade this game. Again, if you're playing, same thing we say every show, if you're playing a bunch of teams, obviously you're going to play some pieces in this game. I think Jimmy's a little underpriced at 7,600. I think he's got some upside. I think some of the cheaper guys, like on a short slate, I think you could play a little Moses Moody, Buddy, Gary Payton. I think you could play these guys, but they're definitely not main team type guys for me. And the Orlando side, you can definitely play Franz, definitely play Paulo, definitely play Wendell. I don't see myself, no matter what, even if Cole Anthony's out, I don't really see the prices are tough for these other guys. I don't see myself going there, even if Cole Anthony's out. Even though the plays, I mean, KCP will be fine. I just can't. I'm happy he's not for my Nuggets anymore. Like he's just older, and he just doesn't. I don't know. I'd rather have Christian Brown and these guys than KCP.
He did everything. He won 2 titles, right? Yeah. He got his bag.
He's had a great career.
Yeah.
He's just older. Like he's fine. I'm not saying he's bad anymore, but
yeah. Tony, another important note too, because I think this matters. Again, I'm someone that really likes to think about the late swapping and flexibility, especially on these marathon kind of slates. If you play Banchero and Franz Wagner, Banchero's going to be 17%. So let's say you play like 35% Banchero. What happens when Bradley Beal gets ruled out, right? I can't get the Kevin Durant as much. You know what I mean? I think that's a very important note when it comes injury-wise to talk about. Here's some of the injury stuff, Tony. So Trace Jackson Davis and Cole Anthony in this game, they are questionable. But some of the big pieces of news that we're waiting on injury-wise are LaMelo Ball is questionable. We got Peter Washington. He's always been questionable, it feels like. Bradley Beal, he was downgraded, so that's a big one. And Edwards is questionable. I'm assuming he plays, but you never know. And then we got LaMelo Ball. He's another questionable guy. So there's a lot of big names for a 5-game slate that are questionable, and that can definitely change what you're doing. So again, the backload is kind of intriguing because that whole hour could buy you a good amount of time. So if you had to pick, Tony, one play on each side, though, who do you got?
Definitely on the Golden State side, I'd take Jimmy Butler. I just think he at least can spring for some upside in certain spots. And for Orlando, it would be Paulo. But my issue again with these guys is I just want to play some of these studs in these later games because I just think they have enormous ceilings. So I'm not going to be able to really play 8,200 Paulo with the way I'm building teams.
Yeah, I will say this will make it interesting. If Anthony sits, you'll be tested because that's a lot of use.
I mean, he's already projected good too. Franz has a good projection. If Cole Anthony's out, it's got to go up at least. I mean, you have to bump him a few points. But the problem is these days for me, it's the first game, so everyone's going to get the news and the projection's going to go up for everybody. So it's almost the type of thing where I'll just kind of let other people do it. Even though I agree, I do agree that the spot becomes a lot better for him handling the ball like that.
Yeah, I just think it's this is a marathon slate. I think it's an important note. And of course, let's say that news does hit. I don't know, maybe better news hits later, right? Like I said, we got some good news that we will be waiting on. Also, where's Rob? Rob said it's the first time we mentioned him, and you guys are great. So Rob was the one that was rushing us. So Rob, we apologize, Happy to provide some content for it. And if you guys could hit that like for us, subscribe to the channel, find out when we go live, we would appreciate it. Tony, let's get to your game. Denver Nuggets, Milwaukee Bucks, of course. Jokic, 12.3K. The question is, will we have the value to make it happen, Tony? Because I'm being honest, value sucks today. We'll go through the games. Not a lot of good values on this slate. It's going to be tough to make it happen. Giannis at 10.7, you could obviously spend up for him if you would like to. This is also probably, if you have to pick, it's probably the game of the slate right now without any news that has hit. You're going to have, obviously, it's a 240 total. Expected to be a competitive game. A lot of plays to discuss. I'll start with the Milwaukee side first. So Giannis at 10.7, like I said, he's definitely not the best play to spend up for. I think it's Jokic, but he's definitely going to be an interesting play, and I think you got to put him in the conversation. Damian Lillard at 9K, I don't mind him. Kyle Kuzma's the interesting one because he's gotten 4 minutes a night pretty much. They are a lot more healthier now, and the minutes have increased for guys like Giannis and Dame, but he's going to be kind of unowned in a pretty good game. So if you're game stacking a little bit, I don't totally hate it. And then don't look now, but Brook Lopez has had a pretty nice role. I know it's not an easy matchup against Jokic. You could probably expand upon that a little bit more, Big T, but he's probably going to have to play 35-plus minutes. And with Bobby Portis out, his role has definitely increased. So I don't think he's the craziest play. We should mention chalk AJ Green. That just sounds terrible. He has played 30-plus minutes in his last 4 games. I get it. I'm just not super excited about it. I will probably be lower than the field on AJ Green chalk just because, again, I don't think there's a lot of great value chalk on this slate. Maybe you'll have a better take on that. Let me go to Denver, though, and talk about that situation. I'm always team guards against Damian Lillard defense. So Jamal Murray at 7.7 is in play, even though it feels pricey. I still think it's in play because of the matchup. Russell Westbrook at 5.4. I don't mind that. But I think one of the best plays in this game, because, again, I think value is kind of rough. I think it's Aaron Gordon at 5.3. He feels really safe. Feels like it's got a nice floor-ceiling combination. I always like to talk about that, where I feel like he's going to get me at least 20. I'm not saying that's great for 5.3, but that does feel like the floor. And I do think they're going to need him in this matchup a lot. These are the matchups I feel like they really use him. Then you got Michael Porter Jr. at 6.1. I mean, Milwaukee, I'm not scared of them at defending the 3. And then, of course, you got Jokic. So I think you have a lot of guys that you could play on the Nuggets side of the ball. On the Milwaukee side, I'm a little bit lower on those plays. So I think I'm more Nuggets heavy. I'm assuming you're going to be similar, Big T, but break down this game starting at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, the Nuggets, I always get made fun of, but these prices are crazy. Like, Aaron Gordon at 5,300 is just crazy. Like, he's healthy again, and he looks it. He was awesome the other night in Indiana. They've had a few more days off. These MPJ, honestly, I like playing shooters against Milwaukee like everyone does.
Yep.
MPJ's got a lot of upside in this matchup too, and they still don't love to play these bench guys. I mean, Strawther the other night, now that they're at almost full strength, he only played 14 minutes. Zeke Naji he's more of a big, so it doesn't even matter. And he played good the other night for 24 minutes. But like Westbrook didn't play a ton, 23 minutes for Westbrook. I just like these shooters. And I mean, Aaron Gordon has to be one of the first guys I put in my lineup next to Jokic. I'm always playing Jokic. He didn't even have 10 rebounds the other night and had 65 fantasy points. It's just to the point where I literally think 60s is like his floor, unless just crazy stuff. Like the Lakers game was an anomaly. They defended him incredible. That's like his first bad game of the year. Milwaukee cannot defend like that. And I just think it's a great spot. Jamal Murray, like you said, I like his spot. It just comes down to the starters. I like these starters because I don't think these bench guys play near as much. So Zeke Naji is interesting, though. I will say that because he played. If he somehow plays, like the other night, he caught a normal run. They like him to defend big wings who technically would be more of a Portis type guy. So I'm looking at the roster like, maybe they put him on like a Kuzma. I don't think he really guards Kuzma, though. Kuzma's more perimeter. So this might not be – like the other night you had Miles Turner and Pascal. So it was more of a Zeke Naji spot. It's probably not Zeke Naji tonight, but on a slate where without a lot of value, it was at least something to think about. And if they don't go to him, they just don't have guys in this matchup. So it's the starters, and Malone loves to play these starters. So I think you can play 2 or 3 of these guys, honestly. They're just too cheap. Christian Brown's too cheap at 600. These guys are too cheap. And then the Milwaukee side, I think there's a lot to like too. Giannis, he's got no more minutes limit. He's back into it. Giannis $1,500 cheaper than Jokic. Yeah, he should be $1,500 cheaper than Jokic. Jokic, I mean, Jokic is way freaking better. Jokic averages what 8 or 9 more points than him on the year. Like he's way better. So he should be. But I agree with the Brook Lopez take too. He almost feels a little bit like Aaron Gordon in a certain way where the mid 5Ks price, he can hit some shots. The guy I definitely don't like is Kuzma. I think Kuzma, he's too expensive. I don't love the matchup. I don't love Dame either for 9K. It's more of Giannis for sure, Brook Lopez for sure. And I get it with a guy like AJ Green. I don't like AJ Green either, but it's a slate with no value. And if I want to play Jokic and Giannis and whoever, Luka, I need some value. And I do think he's safe to get us 17, 18, 19 fantasy points, which if this game stays close, I mean, Jokic could get in the 80s. Giannis you could get 150 between the two of these. And then a guy like AJ Green gets 18. You're in good shape with that. So I don't mind that. They can use some size. How many minutes has old Jericho been getting at 3,100? 13, 14 minutes. Yeah, you can't really go to that. I was wondering if he had a little bit more upside against Jokic, but it doesn't look like it. I like this game, though. I think this game's awesome.
Yeah, the other thing to talk about with this game with the AJ Green stuff, Tony, is like the point that you made of being like, oh, I think he can get me like 17. Like that's the point I'm making. Like this dude is just a rough value to me. That's my point. Like
I mean, he's never going in there and getting you like some crazy outlier like 40 or something.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'll say is that the minutes have been really good, right? He's played 30-plus minutes, but I would not be surprised if it was randomly Gary Trent Jr. gaining more minutes or Andre Jackson or any of these guys. So that's my concern. I want to be under on AJ Green today. I'm not saying you completely fade, but he's coming in at like 35%. I'm fine with having 20. I don't know. I just think it's not – I think it's a little sketchy chalk. And to your point, too, if you play Jokic, Tony – let's say you play Jokic and Giannis. I think that's very difficult. But if you play both, you're left with 4,500, which is really difficult. If you just play Jokic, you're able to play 5,300, where you could put in an Aaron Gordon, a Brook Lopez, right? You can really pepper some of those 5K guys and then maybe only put in like one 3K or one 4K guy. One specifically that we'll get to that I want to discuss. But I do think it's hard to make those like stars and scrubs builds work today. Do you have any kind of comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think you can play Jokic with a bunch of these 5K. I like MPJ. I just look at these matchups, and I don't always like Denver's matchups, but how's Milwaukee going to guard them? This is like a lock. Denver's going to roll. The spread's only 3.5 on DraftKings. They're going to roll them. That's my only worry is they're going to score every time. How are they going to match up? They can't guard already, let alone guard this offense. So I like that build, though. You can play Brook Lopez. You can play MPJ. You can play Gordon, Brown. Pick like 2 of those 5K Denver guys. Pick Brook Lopez. Pick Jokic, and that's a nice little start to your team for me. And then you never know when some value could open up, too. Like maybe someone's out later. Like the other night, I got really lucky with Bol starting late. Played him. He was a little lower owned and crushed. You always get that late. Who knows what's going to happen late where someone pops in there and all of a sudden you got an extra value guy.
That's the guy I think that opens up. I think we get Bol starting even with Beal, and if he's out, man, it's just Bol to the moon. So that's the guy that I really think is the best play on the board today, value-wise. All right, that's enough of that game. We talked about it a ton. It's a really good game. I thought you summed it up good with talking about how the price tags are really cheap on the Denver side, but yeah, I should mention ownership because I do think mentioning ownership is important. Ownership on this game, like I said, AJ Green probably will come in around like right now it says 30%. I think if we don't get a lot of value, it'll be 35%. Also, keep in mind, we just got news that Cole Anthony, he is available, and TJD. So no real news in that first game, which is obviously going to just steam up some of these later plays even more. Westbrook around 20%, MPJ around 20. So yeah, a lot of these guys are going to be owned in this game, but rightfully so. Let's get to the next game, Charlotte and Dallas, which I am intrigued what's going to happen with LaMelo Ball in this game. I think he plays. I know there was some Discord chatter about it, but I think he's going to end up playing 9.5K. He was at shoot around. I know he's questionable, but I'm assuming he plays. You got Kyrie Irving at 9-2, who has to do everything in a great matchup. But for me, I really want to talk about the wings on Dallas. I think that's really the key on this slate with Dallas. For one, Max Christie is going to be 35% owned. Again, another 5K guy who I think is a solid value. I'm assuming he's going to end up starting. Klay Thompson, his shot volume has been better with this team, and he's been really good at 5.4K. I don't mind him in the 5K range. People will play Najee Marshall coming off the bench, who has clearly been solid. PJ Washington at 7-2. If you're doing more of a balanced build, I actually really like him. I think in this revenge game, I think he should be 8K. I think it's just cheap for him. Obviously, I worry about blowout, but I think he is a good play. Spencer Dinwiddie was someone popping earlier. I didn't totally understand, but that's kind of the Dallas breakdown. Of course, you could spend up for Kyrie, but I'll talk about it. There's some good spend up guards coming up later that I think I prefer, but Kyrie's fine. I'm not going to, if I got some of him, I wouldn't X him out of my teams. Charlotte, let's talk about that. Basically, none of these guys are getting ownership right now because, hey, they're healthier is obviously one thing with LaMelo Ball likely back, in my opinion. Nick Smith Jr. at 4.9, he's clearly not as good of a play there. If LaMelo happened to sit, yes, he would be a better play. Other injuries we got to talk about in this game, Daquan Jeffries, he's questionable. Nurkic, he is questionable as well. Now, if Nurkic missed this game, Tony, I know we've talked about him a little bit on the shows. I think this opens up the door for Mark Williams to be a really interesting play at just 1%. Like, no one is playing him at 7.7K. Dallas does not have bigs to cover him. If this game is competitive, which the Hornets have not been playing in competitive games, but I'm just saying, if it's competitive and he's 1% owned. All I got to do is play 5%. I'm overweight. I mean, that's great. I think he's a really intriguing MME type of play. But for me, I'm really looking at Dallas and mainly those wing options and trying to sift through them. For me, I think it's PJ Washington, number 1, Klay Thompson, 2, Max Christie, 3, Najee Marshall, 4. That's how I would rank the Dallas wings. And then I think Mark Williams is a really interesting low-owned play on the opposite side. Charlotte and Dallas, though, clearly we're worried about blowout because of how bad Charlotte's been, Tony. But what's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of that. And especially first of all, if Nurkic is in, I mean, he's a great play at 4,200. He's been good. It is even better of a tournament play, though, for exactly what you said. 7,700 Mark Williams he's been shaky since the whole trade thing. Not a ton of minutes, sitting out here and there. Just doesn't look good at all, honestly. But, man, this matchup's good. It's such a good matchup, and he's going to be literally unowned. So I totally agree with that. Like, he could explode. So hopefully Nurkic is out because it opens up a chance in tournaments to really, really get something cooking. But if Nurkic is in, I think he's a great play. And the rest of these guys are just tough. Looking at all the prices, they're all kind of priced like LaMelo is out in a way. I mean, even the cheaper guys are too expensive. So I don't see a ton there besides the center. I want whoever the center is. Miles Bridges is always like a sneaky play you can make just because he can always pop off, but it seems like a tough spot there. I don't love that by any means. And then the Dallas side, I mean, Kyrie's always going to be in play now that Luka's gone. He's just always. The other night, having him and Bol the other night just was huge for my teams. And I don't like Kyrie as much tonight, but he's going to be 10% owned again, and there's just a lot of value to that. So PJ, I always like PJ. He's going to be asked to do more. And I agree with your takes too. These wings kind of fall into that price point too, where you got Christie, Klay, and Najee all between 5,400 and 4,800, all in that build that you were talking about. I think I can do a lot of 5K guys with Jokic is where I want to live. Don't really have to get super creative besides that. And Max Christie's been good. Clay's actually been good. I don't think Klay still has like a ton of upside, but you don't need a ton of upside from every spot. Just keep things moving. And then Najee always has. He was giving people who did he give LeBron the too small the other night? I love the swag from Najee. So I like this game. And Dwight Powell is he for sure in or is he questionable?
I think he is back, but I wouldn't be playing Dwight Powell.
No, I'm just saying it's another big if he's out, though. More talking the other way with Mark Williams. They just don't have any size. If Dwight Powell somehow was not in there, like he's one of their only bodies.
Yeah, he is questionable, so that's fair.
I'm sure he'll probably be in there because everyone else is out. But man, if he somehow sat, they just have no size.
Yeah, no, it's that's why I think the Mark Williams angle is interesting, right? I just don't think it's one that you can completely ignore. And Matt, back to the AJ Green point. Again, he's going to be the chalk right now. That's the point I've been getting at. And this is not a guy you want to have 80% of. I just think it's stupid to have 80% of AJ Green chalk. That's all I'm getting at. But yeah, that'll be an interesting talking point throughout the slate. This is a good one, Tony. So you mentioned Kyrie. And I agree. Kyrie's just like in play right now because of like the role, the spot. Like if it's competitive, Kyrie will probably go off. But obviously we're talking, hey, what's the percentage chance that happens versus another play? And there's, I think, 3 really good guard spend ups. And I think there's a lot of guard spend ups, but 3 specifically, right? Actually, we can say 4. Devin Booker at 8.8, Damian Lillard at 9K, Ann Edwards at 9.1, and Kyrie at 9.2. How do you rank those 4 guards? I know, yes, some are shooting guard eligible and some are only point guard, but I think between that like $400 difference, there's a big stand you have to kind of make on all these plays.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's tough not to rank Ant number 1. Just they're all similar price, like you said. What 91, 92, 9K. Even if you put Booker in the mix, they're all.
I put him in the mix too, Booker as well, because Beal can sit, and then Booker's going to be an elite play.
I think it's just got to clearly be Ant in that late game. Ant loves stuff like this. Ant can't wait to play in LA. Like, no team's more popular right now. Well, always than the Lakers. But right now with this whole Luka thing, Ant can't wait to play against this team tonight. And that's when you want to play Ant. So I think he's clearly – this is what's going to happen, though. Like, people are going to end up playing guys like Ant and not play Jokic, which – is another. I think Ant will be way higher owned than the ownership say right now. Like, it says like 30. I think he'll be higher. Like, he's just a better play than those guys, which opens up the Kyrie's. Like, Kyrie's got to be number 3 or 4 out of those 4. Like, Dame's got to be higher owned than Kyrie.
Yeah.
So I think Kyrie's the sneaky guy of the group, which we've always talked about on these shows. The one way you can win a tournament is pivot off of a stud to another stud that's lower owned and just have them outscore them. Kyrie can easily outscore Ant. Ant is that's what I mean about this slate. There's just these studs are in fun spots. So it's tough.
And not only that, Ant. So if you play Ant and Booker together, like let's say Beal gets ruled out, which I'm expecting because it was a downgrade of Bradley Beal in the middle of the day, and it's Bradley freaking Beal. Like, if you play Booker and Ant together, Tony, you're left with the same salary with just putting Jokic in 5'3", right? Like, you're left in that range. So that's why people are going to
taking Jokic in the 5K every day of the week.
I'm just saying people are going to want to do that double.
They're for sure. And that's why every slate I get Jokic low owned, though, because everyone's going to choose the 2-8K guys over that.
Yep. So I'm not saying what to do. I'm just explaining.
The 2-9K guys, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like, hey, one route's better than the other. I'm just explaining like, that is what people are clearly going to go to, right? We know the route that the field is going to go to, and it does make sense. I totally get it, and that will lead us into the Suns game because we have to talk about that. I think it is definitely a good spot to discuss. Actually, I should mention the ownerships on Kyrie, right? Because that was an important one. Like I said, Christie and PJ and Clay, they're all going to be above 10%. All the rest of the guys in that game are going to be 10% or lower. But all right, next game up is Phoenix and the Pelicans. I think Bol is right now. He's looking like one of the chalk pieces. He's about to be like 35% owned, but I think he's good chalk at 4.9K. I like him at the power forward spot. Another guy that's looking to be chalk, I'm curious to get your take on Big T, is Misi. He's likely starting. There's no Kelly Olynyk anymore. They're going to need his size. You got Carlo Madovic. He's going to get some ownership too. He's looking to get around 25%. I assume he'll gain some run that Kelly Olynyk isn't there right now with the injury. And of course, Bradley Beal. He is questionable. And Bradley Beal, I'll say this, the minutes have been insane. And if he is in, he's a really good play at 6.8K. But if he's out, that's going to shift the slate, right? That's something that just totally changes the entire slate. It makes Bol an even better play. It helps Kevin Durant's role even better at 9K, gives him more usage, gives Booker more usage at 8.8. You can make the case a guy that's not on the radar right now. Tyus Jones is 4K. I mean, what does that do for Tyus Jones? Does that slide him into the starting lineup and make him be a low-owned value that'll pop in there? I mean, I think he could be an intriguing play. So a lot of different things to discuss in this game. I haven't even got to the spend-ups at the Pelicans. We've obviously seen Jose Alvarado's price increase at 5.7, but again, another 5K guy that's been pretty solid and getting some decent minutes. If you do have the money to spend up for in the 8K range, Zion Williamson has been great. The problem is the minutes have been just stuck at 28, but he's definitely produced. Trey Murphy at 8K is another shooting guard option you could talk about, but he seems like he's been a pretty safe play overall at 7.9K. So there's a lot to like in this game. But the key thing for me is what is happening with Bradley Beal. Because if he is out, that will shift the slate and people might be locked out of him as a play. So that's something we definitely have to discuss, Tony. So for me, I'm sort of backloading for this news. I want to make sure I have way overweight on Bol. I'm intrigued by Tyus Jones. I think he could definitely get a little bit of a boost. So he's someone I might plan a little bit for and boost his projection and make sure I have some of him. But Tony, talk about this game because I think this news is probably the biggest piece of news on the entire slate.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a lot of price sensitivity stuff too, where it's just like Tyus Jones. I'm not a big Tyus Jones guy by any means, but on this slate, if Beal was out and he started and you got him for 4K, he's another like safe type play too, where I just don't love like how much usage he has and stuff, but he's so much better of a play than AJ Green. I mean, he just is so much safer. They probably do have like similar like upsides where they don't have like crazy upside, but just so much safer and so much lower owned because the news will hit later. So I totally agree with you there. And the New Orleans side, though, I think they got just some crazy underpriced guys too. Both centers, like you said, Misi, Makovich, both feel too cheap to me. And you could get both of these guys lower owned than Sabre has them. Like they got them both about 25. I just don't feel like the spot. Looking at their projections too, the projections aren't like popping off the page or anything. So I like both of them. And then one sneaky guy, another guy that I think you can pivot off of AJ Green is Jordan Hawkins against a team like Phoenix. I think he matches up in this matchup to get just a little bit of a boost. He's playing mid-20s minutes. I think he's got a little bit of sneaky upside in this spot too, even though they're pretty deep. One of the annoying parts of New Orleans, they are pretty deep. They like to play a bunch of different guys. I just think he's a young guy that they want to get looks to. So I think he's a sneaky guy I like a lot. And then the Phoenix side, yeah, we just got to wait. I mean, Bull, great play if you wait on it. Nick Richards is a pretty decent play. It's just a perfect slate where you can wait for some news and get rewarded if it breaks your way. If Beal does play, it does make Phoenix somewhat tough for me. Even Bull, I definitely like Bull. Don't get me wrong, but man, if it's Durant, Booker, and Beal in there, and he goes to the 4th, 5th option, it makes it a little thinner, like 100%. But I'm on board because if he starts and Beal's out, you're going to need him. I mean, you're just going to need that play. So I'm on board with pretty much everything you said. I think there's some good value, though. You can definitely throw these centers and Hawkins and some of these value guys into your value pool. And one thing, too, by not playing Green, like you said, even just say, like, you get to these late games, news doesn't break our way. I don't think these guys are, like, that much worse of plays than he is anyways. Like I said, Jordan Hawkins, if I have to play him, and I'm good with that. It's similar price. I don't feel bad about it. He said
so here's Jordan Hawkins' minutes the last 4 games, right? And now there's no Kelly Olynyk. 26, 21, 24, 24. Shot attempts 8, 7, 9, 13. Like, dude, if the shot falls, he's a solid player, right? Like if you look at his game log versus AJ Green's in the last 3 or last 4, the only thing that's really different is the minutes, right? Like
Hawkins is a way better basketball player, just pure basketball.
Agreed. And I wrote him up in the playbook. He's going to be 5% owned. Like, give me a 5% Jordan Hawkins versus a 35% AJ Green.
The only problem, though, is you said it, though, the minutes. It's nice having – whenever you got a crappy guy, it's nice just having him out there. Because Jordan Hawkins, they just play so many dudes. Like, it's not a lot. I like the Jordan Hawkins play, but don't think there's any sort of security that he's going to play mid-20s for sure.
Sure. By the way, program says Beal out. Beal is not out, but because it's old-ass Bradley Beal, and he got a downgrade in the middle of the day.
Phoenix does it every slate, too.
Yes. Like, this is – I mean, like, there's some spots where I've, like, been like, oh, I think this guy sits like – I don't know. This one I feel fairly confident in. Like, I would bet on it. You know what I mean? If somebody put money down. Another thing to call out, Tony, this is the front end of a back-to-back for the Phoenix Suns, and they play – the Pelicans tomorrow. So it makes a lot of sense to just sit him here in this spot. Not only that, on Sunday on ESPN, they play the Minnesota Timberwolves. So it's like the first of like a 3 and 4. So I don't think it's crazy that Bradley Beal could sit here. Not only that, look at the minutes Bradley Beal has played. They just played an overtime game. He played 43 minutes. Like, it just adds up for me where I want to plan for that. Because I think even if Beal is ruled in, some of these plays are good plays like the Bulls and such. And I have the ability to swap to a Bradley Beal if I want to, who's been really good, especially if he's going to continue to get 35-plus minutes a night and slide back into the starting lineup. So I want to have that flexibility. I think it's kind of important. And not only that, Tony, you said it. Let's say Bradley Beal is ruled in. I have pivots on the Pelicans side value-wise, right?
I mean, it's just not it's not the worst situation ever. And still, like, the points just keep stacking up against AJ Green, like this dude says. KPJ going to New York. I can't describe how bad of a matchup it is for AJ Green to have to guard where they the actions Denver runs, where they throw it into Jokic up top, they run 19 screens off of guys, he throws the passes. AJ Green is going to have a nightmare defending this offense. I could see it being KPJ too as a pit. The more we talk about it, the more the pivots off of that kind of chalk is just, it could be Gary Trent, like you said, could be Kevin Porter, like you said. Like, it's someone off of that, though, is good stuff.
Yeah, and here's another guy. It could be Grayson Allen randomly making threes for cheap, especially if Bradley Beal's out. I'm just saying, I'll let you bet on 35% AJ Green. I will bet on some other values, and I play the long game, right? That's just what I'm going to do and kind of call it a day. We also, I don't think we talked enough about this, Big T, but if Beal's out, Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, not Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, I mean, how do you rank them? I feel like they shoot up the ladder a ton, and to the point where I didn't even think about rostering LeBron today, because I just think Kevin Durant is going to be that much better of a play at forward than LeBron, right? I think he'd be that much better of a play than a Paolo Banchero, who people will roster early on. So talk a little bit about Booker and Durant and how much better of plays they become.
I'm the wrong person to ask about these Phoenix Stars, because I struggle with them.
Tony, look at the minutes. They are playing Durant.
They're playing a ton of minutes for sure. I agree with that. They're still just not showing me any sort of, at 9K, I want to see, he does have a 58 and a 55 in there, mid 40. I mean, he's playing a ton of minutes. I agree with you that I think technically they are good plays, but man, I struggle with it. I really struggle with it, but I agree with you. I don't disagree with what you're saying.
Yeah, and they're pushing for playoffs, right? If you look at seedings and everything like that, Tony, we've joked about this a little bit. Do you know where the Suns are seeding wise right now?
They gotta suck. They have to be, if I guess, the 8 seed.
So they're the 11 seed, Tony. And
lower because I knew they sucked.
They're 3 games out of the Kings, right? They need to win games. You gotta beat the Pelicans these next 2 games, right? The Pelicans are the second worst team in the West. So they're going to be playing these guys a pile of minutes kind of down the stretch. And if they're out of the playoffs soon, right? Come April and KD's sitting and is disinterested, then I won't roster him. But this is when I want to roster him, when he's actually interested in the games and trying to make a little bit of a push and not get completely embarrassed. So yeah, I think KD is going to be a really strong play. I will say the
minutes are definitely nice. The minutes are 100% nice.
Yes, they're definitely nice. The next game coming up, though, the Dante DiVincenzo stuff, he might be back. So that's an interesting stuff that we'll talk about here coming up, Sam. We got Minnesota and we got the Lakers. Listen, Luka is going to be a contrarian spend. I think LeBron, too. I don't think people are going to him. You obviously got Austin Reeves. No one's playing them. And overall, I don't think the Lakers are getting much ownership tonight. And I'll just pull it up on Sabre just to call it out right now. Yeah, everyone is under 10% owned in this game. The highest owned guy is, hey, another value we could pivot to if we wanted to. Not saying he's my favorite, but he did say he's butt-ass naked open with LeBron James and Luka on the court. Dorian Finney-Smith at 3A. He's going to be about 9% owned. So that's the highest owned Laker right now. If we look at the Timberwolves side of the ball, you guessed it, Tony. It's Ant Edwards, right? He's going to be around 22%, but that questionable tag is going to be lurking there all day. And let's say Bradley Beal gets ruled out. People go to Devin Booker, and then Ant Edwards might be lower owned. And I love this spot for Ant. I think he's a great play. Don't look now. Rudy Gobert, since he's been out, Naz Reid has been an absolute wagon, man. Dude has been putting up 40-plus fantasy points a night. He plays 35 minutes, and there's a ceiling there, too. I know bigs against the Lakers haven't been great, but, man, Naz Reid has been an absolute monster at 7'9", so I'm not going to bet against him. Jaden McDaniels has also shown some upside at 6'9". I don't totally hate him in this spot. Mike Conley at 4.7 at 4%. He's a condom play that's popping. I don't like him, but he's definitely a play that's popping up a little bit. I'm only seeing 5%, but I'll admit, when I've ran the optimizers, he's popped up a little bit. And then another weird guy that's popped up is Jalen Clark at 3.6. But again, if DiVincenzo does play, I do think that's going to affect some of the usage of these plays, like a McDaniels, a Jalen Clark. That'll be an interesting talking point that we'll have to discuss. And DiVincenzo's about 5'3", so he's not going to be this just weird priced guy that we won't get to. But Tony, it seems like it's the Ant Edwards show in this game. That's the main guy we want to key on. Maybe a little bit of Naz Reid, but maybe you got some different takes than me.
Yeah, it's an interesting game for sure. I love Ant. I agree with you. I love the spot for Ant. He gets up for these games, And it's a tough matchup for the Lakers guys because, I mean, I love Luka. I love what he did the other night. This is the first game after that, right? It's got to be, right? They just played last night or night before. Like, so he just come off that energy. Now he's got to face some of the best wing defenders in basketball, and LeBron and Austin Reeves are still in there. It's just a tough spot for Luka. I like him. Don't get me wrong. If it was a different slate, I'd have no problem using him. But we have so many studs that you just don't need to go there at 11K tonight. I don't see myself playing LeBron. Although I would play LeBron over Luka tonight. I'll say that. If I had to pick one, I would play him. And Rui, though, is another guy that is in that 5Ks that I think is pretty sneaky. With the way they're playing now without bigs, I think he's pretty locked into high 30s minutes. I don't think he's another guy that has like a crazy high ceiling, but you just talked about DFS getting wide open shots. Rui is going to get a ton of wide open threes, and he's going to rebound. He's going to be in a position to do really well, and he's another guy in the 5Ks price-wise. So I actually like Rui the best of all the Lakers. Just he fits my build. He fits what I want. The minutes, I love the minutes, and I think he's somewhat safe at this price point. He might not have 50-point upside or anything crazy, but I think he's a good play. And then the Minnesota side, you got, I mean, Jaden McDaniels is overpriced, but I like him. Naz Reid's probably overpriced too. You got to pay attention to how the Lakers are guarding bigs. They're doing something right. And I loved how they guarded Jokic. 7,900, I can't go there. Mike Conley, there's just no way. Jalen Clark, no. I'll tell you what, though, the dude asked about Shannon. Shannon's a stud. I mean, that guy is a hooper. He might be a little undersized and stuff. And like you said, if Dante's back, it goes down. But he's looked good. When you got a guy like that has played this well, I mean, he's played –
Yeah, he has played good. It's fair.
It's not like they're just going to totally just get him because he's young and he's talented. He's a rookie. He's just a beast. So, I don't know. I'm not saying it's a great play, but again, if you get stuck and some of the news doesn't break your way, I don't think it's insane to turn to someone like that or something. But it's going to be tough, especially with Dante back. I don't love this game, though. I think it's outside of Ant. I do love Ant. I don't see a ton else that like sticks off the page at me.
Yeah, there's not a lot in this game, but I think it's mainly looking at studs, right? Ant is the key guy for sure here. Did you talk up LeBron? I didn't talk up LeBron. I don't know.
I didn't talk him up. I said if I had to pick between the Lakers studs, I would take LeBron.
Gotcha. I
mean, why would Jaden not be on Luka?
It's a good point, and especially, I mean, Jaden's been on LeBron, right, in the past because Luka wasn't there. Now that Luka's there, it could definitely change.
I don't see why Jaden wouldn't be on Luka.
Yeah, and then you put Ant on LeBron. I think that would make the most sense.
I mean, that's either way, though. Like, if it's the opposite way, then I would like Luka. But I think he's on. If it's that way, then I mean, if Ant's on Luka, then I like Luka for sure.
Yeah, it could be, but
I mean, I think Luka destroyed do you remember what he did to this team?
Yeah, I remember.
Well, maybe I should like Luka more. Like but I just don't like the spot though. There's too many studs.
One thing about Luka is he will be 5% out.
Which is something to be said for him, and he's definitely on a mission right now. Like when you're that big of a star and you get traded, it's gotta shock you a little bit. Like, you don't want me?
His mojo could be back a little bit. I will say this: they asked him in the interview the other day, and he basically said against the Mavs, he didn't think he played very well. He felt like he forced a little bit, but he obviously still had the triple-double and everything. I don't hate Luka as a spin, but again, not like some priority or anything like that. And the whole common theme of this slate is those guards, those 9K, 8K guards, that's where a lot of people are living. And that's why Luka's just not going to get ownership. So I do think this is a game where you want to just look at spend ups rather than values and such. But of course, I know you mentioned Rui as an interesting guy. It's like that 5K narrative of all these guys that you can kind of pepper in that range. Someone did ask a question. why not play AJ Green and Hawkins? The point is, AJ Green is like 35%. Like, it's just bad chalk, at least in my opinion. I mean, I get it. If you want to do that, fine. Actually, now I'm seeing 26%, but the point is, it's just too damn high owned for me for AJ Green. So, hey, if you want to do it, go ahead. My point is, I'm hoping that 30% of the field plays him and they get buried, right? That's kind of my hope. I'm going to be well under on him. He will not be a guy that I'm super high on just because, again, I like Bol better. I like other values that I'd rather take chances on this slate at this time. All right, I think that's the slate, though, Tony. I don't know if you have any other thoughts. Obviously, we got to do plays of the day, but any other thoughts on that game, or you want to move on to plays of the day?
No, I think we broke it down pretty good.
All right, Jake, who are you taking for your franchise? That is a good question. Luka or Ant, but it's clearly Luka. I love Ant, but I'm taking Luka over Ant. Yeah. Like, it's just plain and simple. I'm a big Ant guy. I've always been a big believer, but you want Luka to be your franchise. So we saw it last year. He kind of did a LeBron-like thing last year where he I shouldn't say LeBron dragged like Zydrunas Ilgauskas to the finals, right? And Anderson Varejao. He had at least Kyrie Luka last year. I mean, it was he dragged some bad players though overall. All right, Tony, plays of the day. Who do you got? Who is your play of the day?
I'm going to go with a Denver guy, Michael Porter Jr. I love the matchup against Milwaukee. I think he's going to get a ton of looks, and we've seen that upside from him a lot this year. So I think they kind of they just get that open look, like I said, where he's coming off the high screen, hits a bunch of threes. I think he's going to be really low owned. What do we got him at? We got him. Actually, not as low owned as I thought. How many times does this happen to me where I think a guy's going to be lower than and I look and he's popping up like high 20s or something? Like, man. But either way, MPJ's I love him and Gordon. I like both of those guys together with Jokic.
All right, there it is. JSU, not fake Ant guy. I'll just say this. If I was ranking like the best 3 guys, young guys, like you start a franchise with, it goes Wemby, Luka, Ant. That's the order. I guess some people will put SGA. I wouldn't put SGA. That's my order, though. If I was ranking my top 3 guys to start a franchise with today, I get the length of their careers. Obviously, LeBron, you're not getting the length of his career. You're only getting the 2 years he's got left. That's what I would go with. But all right, my play of the day. Tony, I'm going to go with the low-end guy that we both talked up a little bit. I wrote him in the playbook. I want to pivot off of AJ Green too, right? I've talked so much shit about him all show. I feel like that has to be my play of the day. I'm giving out Jordan Hawkins. He's played 20-plus minutes last 4 games. Shots have been there. Hopefully they fall against Phoenix here. Jordan Hawkins will be my play of the day. Tony, final thoughts on the slate, and then obviously we'll get on out of here an hour before lock.
Nope, love it, and I think it's a good slate tonight. I think we're going to have a big night, and let's get it.
Yep, good slate. We'll be in the Discord chat. If you do want to sign up over at Run Pure Sports, you can use that code RPS15. Get you 15% off. Also, Tony, check in on our golf bet. How is Daniel Berger versus Russell Henley doing? I know that people love some good betting stuff, but I saw they were both 8 under earlier.
Yeah, they're both right where they need to be. Hopefully they both do good because we got them both. Maybe they'll tie. As long as they finish in the top 5, they can tie all they want.
Yeah, so I'll say this. It seems like it was a good start to the golf show so far for us. Yeah. So not a bad start for the golfers to kick it off. Jake Knapp shot an insane round. I did roster some of him thanks to the show, so that was pretty good for me. But all right, we got to get on out of here. Thanks a lot for joining us on the show. For me, man, going to Big T. See you guys later.